They told you that if you work harder, things will get better. But what if working harder is exactly what's keeping you stuck? What if the reason you're broke has nothing to do with your bank account, and everything to do with your belief system? You're not struggling because you lack intelligence, skills, or even opportunity. You're struggling because, somewhere deep down, you've accepted that this is your ceiling. But here's the twist. You're exactly a few minutes away from learning how to break that ceiling. Not with hacks. Not with hustle. But by reprogramming the one thing that controls every dollar you'll ever earn. Your mind. Change your beliefs. Wealth begins in the mind. You are not broke because of your bank account. You are broke because of your belief system. There's a silent war raging inside millions of people, and it's not being fought with swords or bullets, but with thoughts. You see, most individuals never realize that their financial reality is simply the echo of their inner world. If you believe that money is evil, that the rich are greedy, or that you're simply bad with money, then guess what? Your subconscious will fight to prove you right. Not because it's cruel, but because it's loyal to your beliefs. And that, my friend, is where the true trap lies, in self-imposed chains made of outdated thinking. Think about it. How many times have you told yourself, "I'm just not good with money"? Or looked at someone successful and muttered under your breath, "They probably stepped on others to get there"? These are not just thoughts, they're affirmations of limiting beliefs. But here's the good news. Beliefs can be replaced. One by one. And that's where the transformation begins. Instead of saying "I'm broke," try "I'm learning to manage money." Instead of "That's not for people like me," say "I'm improving, I'm getting better, I belong." Even a small shift in language creates a tidal wave in your subconscious. When I started this journey, I was broke, not just financially, but emotionally, spiritually, and mentally. I thought money belonged to them, not me. But over time, I learned that wealth isn't inherited by chance, it's summoned by belief. If you change the way you think, you change the way you receive. And here's the magic: when the belief shifts, the doors that once seemed locked begin to creak open. But sometimes, even after the mind shifts, the heart holds on to a different weight, the weight of guilt. And that's where we go next. Guilt is a wealth killer. You cannot attract abundance while drowning in guilt. Guilt is like invisible cement tied to your potential. It doesn't scream. It whispers. It hides behind excuses like "I don't deserve more," or "If I earn more, I'll become someone I don't want to be." But here's the truth most people won't tell you: you were not born to suffer for success. Carrying guilt, shame, or even fear about money poisons your energy. And money, that vibrant, neutral energy, runs from low vibrations. If your financial life feels stuck, it might not be a numbers issue. It might be a frequency issue. Now pause for a second. Do you feel bad when money comes your way? Do you secretly believe that having more might disconnect you from your roots? I've seen it too many times. People raised in scarcity, where love was measured by sacrifice, not prosperity. So when success knocks, they self-sabotage. But listen carefully, wealth is not a betrayal of your past. It's a tool to uplift yourself and those you love. And when you live in gratitude, joy, and generosity, you become a magnet for more. You don't need to apologize for abundance, you need to align with it. Picture this: imagine every time money enters your life, be it a penny or a paycheck, you simply whisper, "Thank you." Sounds small, right? But gratitude rewires the heart. And guilt? Guilt begins to fade. Try it. The next time you earn, receive, or even find money on the ground, say it, "Thank you, where would you like to go?" And when you can finally receive without shame, you're not just attracting wealth, you're learning how to keep and multiply it. But don't confuse income with wealth, they are not the same. And that distinction changes everything. Wealth is not equal to high income. It's not about how much you make. It's about how much you manage, multiply, and keep. Let's break a myth right here, right now. High income does not equal wealth. There are people earning 6 figures a month who live paycheck to paycheck, slaves to their lifestyle, chained by their own lack of financial discipline. And then, there are those who earn modestly, but invest wisely, think long-term, and build a foundation of freedom. So ask yourself, are you focused on looking rich or becoming wealthy? Because one impresses people, the other changes your bloodline. Money is a powerful mirror. If you feel out of control emotionally, your bank account will reflect that chaos. That's why I always say, develop a relationship with money, not from fear, but from respect. Speak to it. Literally. Say, thank you, money. Where would you like to go today? Would you like to rest in my investment account? Would you like to grow in a business? Or would you like to serve someone in need today? This might sound strange, but you're reprogramming how your subconscious interacts with wealth. You're shifting your financial frequency. Here's something practical. Start tracking every dollar for 30 days. You don't need a fancy app, a notebook will do. Look at where your money escapes, and ask yourself if it's aligned with your identity financial goals. Read The Richest Man in Babylon or The Psychology of Money. These books teach timeless truths. Remember, money multiplies in the presence of clarity, not confusion. And clarity begins when you treat money not as a means to survive, but as a partner in your vision. But here's the thing, before you start spending, there's a principle even more important, and it might just flip your entire financial strategy upside down. Invest first, spend second. You don't rise to the level of your income. You rise to the level of your investment in yourself. Here's a tough pill to swallow. Most people spend to escape their reality, instead of investing to change it. That's why the moment money hits their account, it's already gone, swallowed by habits, subscriptions, fast food, and impulse. But the wealthy? They play a different game. They ask, how can this dollar multiply? How can this decision feed my future? Investing in yourself isn't some trendy mantra, it's the gateway to long-term freedom. And no, you don't need to be rich to start. You just need to prioritize progress over comfort. Let me give it to you straight, the best investment you'll ever make is you. Your mindset, your skills, your circle. Can't afford a course? Start with free content. This video is a great start. Want to develop your skills? Pick up Deep Work by Cal Newport or Atomic Habits by James Clear. Want mentorship but can't pay? Offer your time, volunteer, serve. I once interned for a man I admired, worked for free, just to be in his environment. That proximity changed everything. Because what you're exposed to, you begin to normalize. And there's truth in what Dean Graziosi once said, you pay attention to what you pay for. When you invest, even a little, you show yourself and the universe that you are serious. That you're ready to receive, grow, and shift. The more you invest, the more it stings, and the more you show up. But here's the turning point. Once you start acting like someone who's going somewhere, your subconscious catches up. And that's when your identity starts to evolve, not just as a thinker, but as someone who builds wealth from the inside out. Create a new financial identity. You cannot create a new reality with the same old identity. If your bank account hasn't changed, it's likely because your identity hasn't either. You see, money doesn't just respond to action, it responds to identity. You can hustle all you want, but if deep down you still see yourself as broke, bad with money, or unworthy, then your results will echo that belief. That's why one of the most powerful things you can do is declare a new financial identity, not just as an affirmation, but as a spiritual contract. A declaration that says, this is who I am now. And everything in my life must rise to meet this version of me. Take a moment right now and say it. I am someone who attracts, manages, and multiplies money. Let it land. Let it challenge the old scripts. This isn't about pretending. It's about reprogramming, retraining your emotional DNA to stop seeing money as foreign, and start seeing it as natural. And to go even deeper, write your own spiritual identity contract. Choose 3 words that define the version of you who already has the life you want. Mine? Loving. Passionate. Wise. Yours might be focused. Empowered. Grateful. Say them. Write them. Become them. There's a sacred moment when you stop asking how do I make more, and start asking who must I become. That's when the external world bends. That's when your energy sharpens. Because every decision you make, every dollar you manage, will start aligning with that identity. This isn't a motivational gimmick. This is science. This is the subconscious at work. And the next piece of the puzzle? It's not about adding something more, it's about letting go of what's holding you back. Let go to receive more. The tighter you grip, the less you're able to receive. Picture your hands clenched tight around a pile of coins, holding so hard, terrified of losing even one. Now ask yourself, how can you receive more if your hands are already full and closed? That's exactly how most people treat money. They operate from fear, scarcity, and a deep sense of control, thinking that hoarding is security. But the irony is this: the more you cling, the more abundance slips through your fingers. Why? Because the energy of money flows, it circulates. And when you stop the flow, you stop the growth. It took me years to learn this. I remember when I started making real money, I kept all of it. No vacations. No giving. No upgrades. I didn't want to lose it. But I also didn't trust it. And that's the problem. Money amplifies who you already are. If you're generous, money makes you more generous. If you're afraid, money makes you more anxious. The real shift came when I decided to treat money like a partner, not a prisoner. I began to release some with purpose: donations, investments, experiences. And as crazy as it sounds, more came. So how do you let go without being reckless? Simple. Start by giving, even just a little, without expecting return. Buy someone a coffee. Tip double. Invest in something that makes your future self proud. Create a small circulation account and move money in and out monthly. That simple act reminds your nervous system, I trust that more is coming. And when you start living like that, you stop chasing money, and it starts finding you. But if you want wealth to stick around, it's not enough to shift actions, you have to shift your words. And that, my friend, is where the real magic begins. Speak wealth into your reality. Your words don't just describe your life. They create it. Let's get brutally honest. How often do you catch yourself saying, I can't afford that, or money is just not my thing? You may think you're being realistic, but what you're really doing is casting spells. That's right. Every word that leaves your mouth carries energy. Your vocabulary is a mirror of your beliefs, and your beliefs shape your results. If you constantly say you're broke, your subconscious doesn't question it, it obeys it. And so, your reality adjusts accordingly. Not because life is cruel, but because your frequency is. Now here's the shift: replace statements of limitation with declarations of expansion. Say, I'm learning to manage wealth. Say, money flows to me with ease. These aren't just affirmations, they are commands to your subconscious mind. You're not lying to yourself, you're retraining yourself. And if that sounds too woo-woo for you, consider this: athletes do this before every performance. CEOs do it before negotiations. Why not you before building wealth? When you speak abundance, you unlock parts of your brain wired to attract solutions. Try this for 1 week. Every time you catch yourself in lack talk, pause. Breathe. And reframe. Out loud. Yes, even if it feels awkward. You're not just speaking differently, you're reprogramming your neural patterns, building a new money language. A language where money is no longer an enemy, but a companion. And once your words begin to shift, and your beliefs align, the universe starts to test you. It asks, are you really ready to receive? And sometimes, the answer isn't found in a spreadsheet, but in a tiny closet, with one powerful lesson that can change everything. Money comes when you're ready. He was broke, not just in the wallet, but in spirit. Working from a literal closet in someone else's office, squeezed between cleaning supplies and the microwave buzz of a break room, Lewis House didn't see himself as poor, he saw himself as unfinished. He was hungry, curious, willing to learn. But above all, he was patient. Each day, he showed up to serve, to grow, to invest in himself when he had almost nothing to give, except his commitment to change. And it was during one of those weekly walks with his mentor that the moment came. His mentor turned to him and said, calmly but firmly, "Money comes to you when you're ready for it." At first, Lewis laughed. "I feel pretty ready," he thought. "I'm sleeping on couches, I'm working for free, I'm broke, how much more ready could I be?" But the mentor didn't explain. He just let the seed sink in. And that seed, over time, grew into truth. Because months later, when the money finally started coming, Lewis realized he had become someone different. Not just a hustler. Not just a dreamer. But someone who could attract, manage, and multiply money with clarity, alignment, and purpose. And that's the lesson most people miss. It's not just about the grind, or the hustle, or even the desire. It's about alignment between what you say, what you feel, and what you believe. Because if those three aren't in harmony, money will always feel just out of reach. But when they are, money flows. Opportunities appear. Life expands. So now, ask yourself, am I ready for it? Am I prepared not just to make money, but to hold it, respect it, and let it grow through me? That's the question that leads us to the final, most important chapter of this transformation. It all starts now. So, let me ask you something. What would change if, just for the next 30 days, you acted like the version of yourself who's already financially free? How would you speak? What would you believe? How would you invest in yourself, even when it feels uncomfortable? Because here's the truth, you're not 10 years away from changing your life. You're one decision away. One decision to rewrite your money story. One decision to let go of guilt. One decision to build a new identity. And if you're waiting for permission, consider this your green light. But nothing happens without action. Without consistentia, without courage. So I challenge you, go back, rewatch the part that hit you hardest. Pause it. Write it down. Reflect. What belief are you still holding that's keeping your hands close to the flow of abundance? What words are you repeating that are anchoring you in a mentalidad de escasez? And most importantly, what are you willing to release today, so you can receive tomorrow? If this video opened your mind, imagine what the next ones could do for your life. So hit that subscribe button, activate the notifications, and join a community committed to building not just wealth, but riqueza interior. Your future self is already whispering, thank you. Now it's your turn to rise and become everything you were meant to be.